Hello. Let me unmute. That might help. We got JoJo in the back over here. You can't really see her. I have every light on. It's just very dark in here. Hi, JoJo. You want to say hi? Nice to see you. Oh, big stretch. What a great big stretch. Hi, kitty. Um, she loves to just get right out of the frame. Hi, baby cats. Wow, look at her. She's so nice. Hi, kitty. You say hello? She doesn't care very much. Hello. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. Oh, thank you, Marty. Doing my nails for a wedding this weekend, so can't type much. No worries. Have fun. I just painted my nails earlier today because I was filming earlier, which is why I'm in makeup and stuff. But hello, everyone. Yeah, I was keeping the microphone way too close to my mouth before. I had it I think 6 inches closer to me than it needed to be. I'm trying to make sure JoJo stays in the shot. Hi, baby. Oh my goodness, she's so pretty. Look at that beautiful girl. Wow. How's everyone doing tonight? I didn't plan anything. I just had a lot of fun hanging out and just talking and gabbing last night. So I thought we could continue doing that. I just really want JoJo to be in the shot, and she wants to stay right at the edge of that table back there. JoJo, everybody wants to see you. What a big stretch. You want to come over here? Hi, good job. Great job, baby. Wow, that's perfect. That's exactly where you should be. That's a beautiful girl. That's a beautiful baby. Hi. Hi, kitty. Oh no, I hope you feel better. Sometimes when I feel like I'm gonna get sick, if I hum really hard, it helps. I think it can settle something in your stomach. I'm actually kind of super not so bad that I'm bothered right now or anything, but I'm kind of emetophobic. I'm very panicky when I feel like I'm going to be sick or to throw up, which is not super conductive with the fact that I also have, chronic migraines and cyclical vomiting syndrome. But it means that I have lots of experience trying to make myself not be sick because I feel very panicky when I might get sick. So when I wake up in the morning and I feel like I am going to be sick, which happens most mornings, I end up humming really, really hard. And more often than not, I would say it helps to calm me down and settle my stomach. I don't know how useful that is right now. But yeah, that's my hot tip is to hum if you feel like you're gonna be sick. I've also never tried the ice thing. I hope that helps. I'm a tiny bit quiet. I can turn it up a little bit. I'm not quite in the yellow yet on my OBS. This is with it all the way up on OBS. How does this sound? You're my sound expert, so I'm gonna let you know. But when I have it turned further up, because I can also turn it further up in my main settings. I can do that as well, but for right now it looks like it's at least not blowing out all the way to the red level on my audio. I'm starting to get a little better. Okay. It's crispy? It's better? Okay, good. I'm glad that's better. I can also, I think, because this is all the way down to 17. So I'm gonna try to scoot it up a little bit. I never intentionally put it down to 17. This is 34. Is 34 better than 17? I'm still trying to figure it out because I feel like I had it tuned in pretty much exactly right where I knew I wanted it at like 70% for the Yeti, and I think it does not need to be all the way up at 70% for this new microphone. Um, okay, okay, cool. All right, I don't think there's any difference. How about like this? If it's like this, is it too loud? Because there's a little bit more of like the orange and red coming through. I'm so sorry to everybody. This is actually probably extremely boring content. I just want to make sure that I'm not like burning anything out. Because when I did go back, this is a little bit loud. Okay, so it does make a difference if I turn it up maybe like 40. Let's see how like 40 is. How is this? I'm just gonna keep talking until I see. Hopefully that at least gets it better to how it was. Did that decrunch it any? Okay, perfect. Okay. I'm gonna stop I'm gonna stop messing with it now. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. Hello, hello. I've been trying to make myself right, but I couldn't find anything to listen to, so I will silently lurk and hang out. Welcome, Watercolor Kit. Yeah, no worries at all. Perfect. All right, 40 is better. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna stop messing with the audio at this point. I feel like that's helpful. All right. Yeah. BC, I really appreciate the sound advice. It's really helpful. Thank you. Headphones are at half volume now. Perfect. Yeah, I know sometimes you have to like crank the volume all the way up to the top when I'm streaming, which is why I always like just kind of want to fix it just in case if it's not great at the beginning. Yeah. So we don't need to do this today. I think this could probably be its own stream. But I think it would be fun at some point to do a stream where we talk about the casting for the new Hunger Games movie. I'm not upset by anybody so far. I'm pretty excited about that one, but I think maybe I should have put that in the title if that's what we were going to talk about tonight. But I think there hasn't been like a new announcement in a while, but they announced a bunch of them. You know what? Screw it. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Why am I putting it off? I'm gonna just look up. I just almost looked up Songbird on the Reaping. That's not what it's called. A Ballad of Sunrises and Snakes. Okay, so. Yeah, sorry to anybody who popped up and doesn't care about this. Maybe I'll just I think I could change the name of this stream, but I don't know that I care that much. Okay. We have this. So I have been seeing these coming out. Like I said, I'm not unhappy with any of them. I'm actually very, very happy with who they cast to play Lenora Dove, which I think, maybe Jennifer Lawrence would have been cast no matter what. But between Rachel for Lucy and this actress for Lenore, I'm like, maybe we would have gotten a Katniss who wasn't white if they had Frances Lawrence here from the beginning. Oh no, I don't think there will be any spoilers or anything. Obviously like you're gonna see the names of the characters who are here. But I won't spoil Sunrise on the Reaping at all, other than just who's going to be in the movie. I need to finish reading Songbirds and Snakes. I only got a couple of pages into it, and then I started working on a video. But I read Sunrise on the Reaping really, really fast, and I want to reread it. Is this annoying thing on the bottom? I can just cut this off, okay, because that's just there the whole time. So. We've got Joseph Zeta playing Haymitch Abernathy, which, like, I mean, honestly, is this the guy? Is this the guy? I don't know if that's the same name I saw earlier. Hang on, I don't know if that's the guy. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw a different guy. Anyway, what I was going to say, though, is that they were always going to cast a blonde Haymitch because they needed it to match up with they needed it to match up with the movies, and they put Woody Harrelson in a fucking blonde wig, even though it's not even his real goddamn hair. Yeah, I guess it is Joseph Zeta. I'm just thinking of that other guy that people were saying it was going to be. Yeah, that's what it is. Because there was for a minute, people were saying it was going to be the guy who played. They were saying it was going to be the guy who played what's his face on. That's not helpful. Fuck. What's the name of the guy from Looking for Alaska? Is it Miles? Is his name Miles? Is his name? I think his name is Miles. For a little bit, people were saying that it was going to be the guy who played Miles from Looking for Alaska. That Hulu version that they did. But it ended up not being. Fuck, his name is Miles, right? Yeah, Miles. Miles is his name. I don't know why that was so important to me right now that I know that for sure. Anyway, though, for like a couple of days, there were rumors that it was going to be the guy who played Miles in Looking for Alaska, and I was pretty excited about that because I thought he looked fine for a casting for Woody Harrelson, and I liked the Looking for Alaska Hulu series a lot more than anybody has ever given it credit for that I've heard. But anyway, yeah, this guy Joseph Zeta is playing blonde ass Hamish Abernathy. Doesn't look 16 years old to me, but okay. He has been in a number of projects in his homeland. Oh, he's Australian, including drama Invisible Boys, political thriller Total Control, and true crime film The Speedway Murders. He also has upcoming roles in Prime Video's young adult series We Were Liars and Netflix's East of Eden adaptation. I haven't seen any of the stuff that he's in. I think, honestly, it's probably a better sell for them to cast somebody for Haymitch who I've never seen as anything else. But, yeah. Whitney Peak plays Lenore Dove Baird. I think she's adorable. I think she looks really, really cute. I've also never seen her in anything, but she is Haymitch's girlfriend, who's a member of the Covey, a previously nomadic music group who were forced to settle in District 12 after the war. Her mother is suspected to be the cousin of Lucy Gray, the character played by Rachel Zegler. I think Whitney Peak is really cute. She's been in the HBO Max reboot of Gossip Girl, apparently. While other credits include TV shows Home Before Dark and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and films Molly's Game and Hocus Pocus 2. Maybe I did see her in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but I think I only watched the first season of that, so I don't know. I don't remember her in it. But I think she's cute, and I think she actually does look like a teenager. Like, I think I could buy this as a 16-year-old. She definitely is actually a little bit older. I think she's like 20, but it's not older enough that it like feels super. I mean, the one thing is, I will say, as I was reading Sunrise on the Reaping, I was thinking to myself, well, soak in these looking like children and teenagers in your head, because they're not going to be they're not going to be teenagers in the movie. But I think she looks more like a teenager than Jennifer Lawrence did as Katniss. Jennifer Lawrence in the first movie looked like she was like fully in her middle 20s. And then we also have McKenna Grace playing Maisley Donner, which I think McKenna Grace is, yeah, she's only 18. So McKenna Grace is actually, she's the youngest person being cast in this movie, but she's also too old for her character. Like, it's not enough that I'm mad about it, because I actually quite like McKenna Grace. But again, like, they cast an 18-year-old. I'm pretty sure Maisley is supposed to only be 16. I don't think that it was her last year in the arena, which, like, an 18-year-old, it would be the last year that they're able to be reaped. But I could buy her as a teenager still, especially because so many of us have seen her, like, from, like, being younger in other things. I think it also makes it easier to, like, make her look like a teenager, in my head. So, like, I'm not mad about it at all, but, like, if you're really being, like, I'm just checking her age in Sunrise. Yeah, she was 16 in Sunrise on the Reaping. Like, if you're really being a stickler, she should probably look a little bit more like a baby. But, like, I'm fine with it. This honestly feels like a much younger looking cast so far than we had for the first movie. which I'm fine with it. Also, Maisley, the second female tribute from District 12, also has a twin sister named Marilee. I'm very curious if the twin sister is going to even be in the movie, or if that will matter at all. Um, I I think about Marilee Donner way too much. A twin with the name Marilee to match Maisley, and then Maisley gets reaped with Haymitch, and like I said I'm not spoiling anything, and this isn't even a spoiler because we know all of this from Catching Fire, but like you have this dumbass name called like you have this dumbass name specifically to match your twin. Um, you're called Marilee, and it means like happy. It sounds like you're like happy and merry. And then your twin sister gets reaped into the Hunger Games, and then all anybody knows about you in the original trilogy is that you're Madge's mom, and you have terrible migraines all the time, and you have to sleep a lot. Marilee Donner, unfortunately, kin with Marilee. Um, Oh, hi, Justine. Hi, little Shoppa Valley. We all looked like teenagers without makeup. Just rub some Vaseline on her eyelids and she'll be fine. Yeah. McKenna Grace was in Handmaid's Tale a couple of seasons ago, or maybe even just last season. I don't know. But she correctly struck me as a teenager in Handmaid's too, because she's like playing a child bride in that. And yeah, Justine, I would also rather have slightly older, even though they're not going to look like teenagers in my head, little babies in my head. I would rather not have like actual teenagers anyway. So it's fine. What? I need to, wait. The two most recent Ghostbusters film, does that include the lady one or not? Because I know there was just one with Paul Rudd, but I haven't seen it yet. I had no idea she was in in Ghostbusters movies. But she also played young Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel and been seen in Gifted, Annabelle Comes Home, and Malignant. I have known this for a long time about her. Like, I've noticed this for a long time about her. If they need a younger version of a white blonde lady, McKenna Grace is getting a call. McKenna Grace is getting the call. They needed a young Brie Larson for Captain Marvel. Ring ring, McKenna Grace. Yeah. Also, I love Brie Larson. Brie Larson I should look into for the hate trains. We're talking about the casting for the new Hunger Games movie, but it's not what we're going to be doing all night. There's only like 2 more people. So Jesse Plemons plays Plutarch Heavensby. This was, of course, what's his name? Fuck. Oh my god, I know it. I know his name. Oh wow, this is embarrassing. Oh my god, I have to Google it. I know Philip Seymour Hoffman. My brain was only giving me Philip, and I was like, "There's more to it." Anyway, they needed to cast somebody to play a younger version of Philip Seymour Hoffman, and a lot of people were hoping that they would cast his son, which I think would have been cool, but I understand why the son might not have wanted to play like his father's last role. And Jesse Plemons as a slightly younger Philip Seymour Hoffman makes so much fucking sense. This was honestly like I was exactly like it would have been cool if the younger Hoffman wanted to do it. I would have been like excited to see that, but this was my hope for the younger Plutarch. Yeah, he looks exactly like Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's really good casting. Yes, yeah, exactly. I love Brie simply for the reason the incels hated her. Exactly, me too. Like, I've said this before. I think I've said this before to you specifically, Allie. But like, as soon as somebody gets that level of like unprecedented and bizarre and unfair hate, I'm just like, I'm in your corner forever now. Brie Larson is definitely that for me. I didn't even like Captain Marvel that much, but like, I love Brie. Kelly Marie Tran absolutely faced a similar hate train. Yeah. I think obviously Kelly Marie Tran has like the misogyny issue, like making things worse and even harder. But Marty and I have talked about this before for my like upcoming Hate Train video. Is like the way that the actors in the Star Wars sequel trilogies who were not the white guy got treated was really really bad. Like John Boyega, obviously he didn't have to deal with misogyny because he's a man, but he had to deal with really awful and horrible racism. And I don't. I obviously I haven't seen all of. I said obviously. I don't know if it's obvious that I've not seen Star Wars. But I. So I watched the first movie in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and I felt like Finn was going to be like as much a main character as Rey. And I was really excited about that because I really loved Finn. I think Finn is really cool. And I think John Boyega is a really talented actor. And I think that he's also just like, he's really charming and endearing. So like I watched the first of the Star Wars movies on a date. And the sequel movies, I mean, on a date. And I was like, oh, like, this seems like it could be cool. And then that was before the other two movies came out. And then by the time the next two movies came out, I was like, it sounds like they did not do almost anything with Finn. Despite Finn being like one of the most interesting characters. And like, obviously, I'm going to come up with like little gay things in my head. So like my absolute ideal would have been Finn and Poe. Just from that first movie, Finn and Poe, I liked them a lot. I enjoyed pretending like they were gay for each other. I kind of think that they were. I think all three of them were playing a little bit polycule in that first one. It could have been so good. And then Finn neither got to be the love interest for Poe or for Rey, and that felt very, very deeply unfair to me, because I think in a fair and just world, John Boyega would have been the love interest for either Rey or Poe or both. But I think yeah, the focus shifted. I thought I just wasn't interested in Kylo Ren, so then I heard that a lot of the next two movies dealt with Kylo Ren like primarily, and I lost interest. But I have read fan fiction. I can't remember any of it. I can't remember any of it enough to like give a recommendation or anything, but I certainly have read Rey Poe fan fiction during the time between the first sequel movies and the later ones. The actors were all for the polycule too. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think for sure the guys who played Finn and Poe were like 100%. They were playing it on purpose. I don't think all that happens on accident. I have some polycule fanfic of them, of them in my bookmarks. Trust. So real, so real. In a fair and just world, people would admit that Finn and Poe are so much hotter than Kylo Ren. I agree. I completely agree. These Violet Delights. We are looking at the casting so far for the new Hunger Games movie, but we're just doing it quick. It's not the only thing tonight, but it was the first thing in my head. So they only have these 4 confirmed, but I'm pretty sure I've also seen that Elle Fanning is in talks, but I don't know if it's confirmed yet. Elle Fanning was apparently in talks to play young Effie Trinket, and they still need to cast Snow, which they're saying might be Ralph Fiennes. Which I think is fine. I saw somebody did like a picture lineup of like the guy who played him in Songbirds, and then this guy, and then Donald Sutherland, and it looked fine. Like it looked totally believable to me. I'm also seeing Kieran Culkin in line for Caesar Flickerman. Here's my thing. On the one hand, I think that would be fun, and I think you can pretty much put any like somewhat talented guy onto the Caesar Flickerman role, and you will find somebody who will have fun. There was I can't remember who plays him now. I know one time Marty got mad at me because I didn't really know who he was, but the guy who plays Caesar's dad in the Songbirds movie is so fun. He's so fun, and I just I think though that they could use Stanley Tucci again. Which, like, I know sounds ridiculous, but Katniss says in Catching Fire, I think, and in the first Hunger Games movie, that that Caesar has, like, always looked the same, and it was Caesar who did the interviews for Hamish's Quarter Quell, and so the idea is, like, Caesar Flickerman has had this job for a while, and he just has plastic surgery, and I think it would be extremely, extremely funny if they just used 2025 Stanley Tucci for Caesar Flickerman, but I know they can't. I know they won't. I know they won't. We will have somebody else cast, but I think Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman is one of the, like, top 5 best pieces of casting that they accomplished in the whole original trilogy. I would be so happy if they just straight up brought Stanley Tucci back. Maybe tape his face a little bit and, like, make it look like he has had work done or something. But, like, I think it would be so funny. I think it would be so funny. I won't be mad. I won't be heartbroken if it's Kieran Culkin. But I do think that they should just put Caesar Flickerman. They should just put Stanley Tucci back in. I love Stanley Tucci. I love him in I love him in Easy A when he plays the dad. Have him, like, with bandages on his face, like he only just came out of plastic surgery. Hi, Kaya. Yeah, I feel like they could pull it off. Yeah. So I didn't realize that the Elle Fanning thing wasn't canon. But people are saying that that Elle Fanning is in talks to play the younger version of Effie Trinket, and I think that would be great. I think she would do a great job of that. I like the Fannings. I like them. I obviously just rewatched Twilight and Breaking Dawn, and Dakota Fanning is in that one. I didn't know. Did y'all know this? So, Dakota Fanning's character, Jane, in Twilight, I guess when she does her thing where she, like, makes eye contact with you and she's like, pain, I guess what she's actually doing is, like, projecting an image into that person's mind of being burned at the stake because she was burned at the stake, but then Arrow turned her into a vampire. I never knew that. I went on, like, a deep rabbit hole the other night after the Breaking Dawn video was already even finished, so, like, it didn't even it wasn't even for anything, but I was, like, in a deep rabbit hole the other night where I had a bunch of Twilight Saga wiki pages open for various members of the Volturi, which is also how I learned that 2 of them have wives. I didn't know 2 of them had wives. 2 of them had wives, and the one of them whose wife died because she was Arrow's sister, and Arrow had her killed. The Volturi lore is a lot deeper than I thought it was. But that's the one who, like, dies in the big battle fantasy scene, and he's like, finally, and he's, like, happy that he died. He's happy that he died because he's been sad ever since his wife died, because his wife's magic vampire power was to make people happy, and now he can't be happy because his vampire mate died. I don't know if that's even on page in the original series and I just completely forgot about it, or if this all comes from, like, the lexicon or whatever. But it's interesting. It's also interesting that, like, even the Volturi wives are, like, locked into very specific roles they're allowed to play, and, like, of course they are. It's Stephenie Meyer. Yeah, Marty and I were just, like, looking at so many Wikipedia pages for Twilight, because it was, we were looking at like the different covens, because there are so like few covens, and they're in very specific places, and then you click on it and it's literally like the Irish coven with like Siobhan and Liam and Maggie. The middle name might not have been Liam, but it was definitely Siobhan and Maggie were two of the names, for the Irish coven, which is just very funny. It's but I guess I named my Russian vampire Dmitry Abramov. I don't know how much I have to say there, because Dmitry is also a very stereotypically Russian name, I believe. So, I can't knock them. I also picked a place and a very a very place name for my vampire from a country. But in my defense, Dmitry is cooler than Edward Cullen. I watched Scott Pilgrim for the first time this year, and when I told my fiance I had never seen it before, he was like, "You look like you've seen it a lot." I chose to be offended. Unfortunately, I think I also look like I've seen Scott Pilgrim a lot. I think I'm with you on that. I've seen it like 3 times. I don't know if that counts as a lot. I kind of like it. Yeah, ask your Russian friend if it's offensive for me to have a Russian vampire named Dmitry. I'm like 3 years into that guy existing in my brain. It's too late for me to change it now. Bobby calls him Mitri. Bobby is just my other character. I said that like Bobby was a real person. He's only a real person in my heart. Vladimir Putin has too much sway over my mind. The first name I always think of is Vlad, and I hate that for me. There's a vampire in The Sims named Vlad. Now that's a pretty common name. Thank you. I don't think any of Dimitri's character traits are like Russian stereotypes. He's just a very anxious and autistic vampire. And he's been alive like for so long. Like he was alive before sewing machines existed, and he learned how to sew from his mother, who was a tailor. So he insists on hand sewing all of his clothing, and all of his boyfriend's clothing. He insists on doing it all by hand because he's very meticulous. And even though he's very meticulous about clothes, he likes it when they're like stained or like torn or whatever, because he likes doing mending, and he's very like, clothes are meant to be worn. One of my favorite guys I've ever come up with. I love Dimitri. Make him a Greek tailor. We have... Well, this doesn't make me sound much better about the stereotypical names. I promise all of my characters are not like this. But we do have a Greek in our polycule, in our character of polycules. So we have my main boy, Bobby Claremont, who was the mall Santa in the Monster of the Week game that I was DMing. And then we have Bobby Claremont, and then Dmitry Abramova. He goes by Abramova, even though that's like the feminine version of his last name, because it's actually his mother's maiden name. And he jokes that Americans don't know enough about like how the names pass down. So we've got Bobby is dating Dmitry, but then there's also they have a third. Which wasn't originally the idea. Originally, it was just going to be Bobby and Dmitry. But then we ended up writing about... this is, like, really silly, but I did a hook for because this is all just based off of a Monster of the Week tabletop role playing game, and I did a like a mystery where they had to find this like spindle that belongs to like the fates, like the Greek fates, and so I ended up with because our game is set in New Jersey. I ended up with like the fates from Greece, from Greek and Roman mythology. I ended up with the fates in New Jersey, and one of them like runs a yarn store. And the players in like the monster hunting party had to like go track down this spindle because it had gotten stolen. And so I have my fates living in New Jersey, and they used to be more powerful. They all used to be able to see all three, but now because like they're old and like the like gods in my universe have power like directly proportional to how much people believe in them, so they're like not as believed in anymore, and so now they're like the three fates. They're like past, present, and future, but they're split. So each of them only remembers one, except for I fucked up. I fucked up really bad the night we were playing, and I mixed around the names of the goddesses on accident. Because, like, there are actually three. There's Nona, Decima, and Morta. But I mixed up, I think, Nona and Decima, because there's one of them who is, like, primarily associated with, like, mothers and, like, maternity. And I conflated that one with being Nona when she's not. I think that one's supposed to be Decima. But anyway, mine is not correct if you actually know about mythology, but she's my character, so she's still named Nona. My Nona out of the three, like, she can only see the present, and she like only is able to like interact with anybody in the present. She's like a mindfulness queen, right? And because she's able to only interact with people like in the present, she can't remember anything bad anybody did, but she feels like she knows people like very intimately, like she's like, because she's like a goddess or whatever. So anyway, she needed to have somebody who like stays with her and helps take care of her, because she's like the ghost of Christmas Present from Muppet Christmas Carol, right? Or I guess like from any Christmas Carol, but Muppet Christmas Carol specifically. Anyway, Kate and I ended up needing to come up with like a character who stays with Nona and takes care of Nona, because we ended up continuing to write Nona into the things that we write about these characters, like long after we were not playing anymore. And so we came up with like this fairy who lives with her, who has been living with her since he like came to Earth when she was in ancient Greece, and his name is Cassius. That was a really long walk to we do have a Greek and his name is Cassius, which I think is a very stereotypically Greek name, like for who he is. I'm pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure, but yeah. So I think those are my most my most stereotypical names. It's no Siobhan and Maggie, but it's close. I have Astrid and Ingrid, the Norwegian vampires, in my vampire writing, so I can't judge on stereotypical names at all. Right, like if they're like old and they're like immortal, like you kind of have to. I'm from this mythical land of Central Jersey. Amazing. I've actually never even been to New Jersey, but I was like setting up like session 0, session 1 for the tabletop role-playing game, and I was asking my party like, what kind of city do you think we live in? Like, where are we? And I was thinking like, tell me like, I don't even know what I was expecting really. I was thinking like, tell me like the size or whatever, like give me some kind of like comparison. But one of my players was like, I don't know, are we in New Jersey? And I was like, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, we're in New Jersey. And so the rest of the players didn't really care so much to pin it down, but me and Kate are crazy. So we're very intense and we needed everything to be very specific. So like we knew not only Jersey, it's specifically in Trenton, New Jersey, and then like we just will write back and forth like in like a Google Doc, and it's I mean I think this is what people are doing a lot of the times when they role play or whatever, but I've never role played, but like we just write like we just switch off writing like dialogue and action and stuff in a Google Doc at the same time, and it's the most fun. I love it so much. It's so fulfilling, and I used to write a lot of fan fiction. I used to write specifically Hunger Games fan fiction, and then I eventually stopped. And this, having like a private writing practice with my best friend, it's really fun. And it was a really good way to get me to start writing again after I had stopped writing fan fiction. The writing about our, we call it we go back and forth sometimes. And sometimes we call them like the Bobbyverse or whatever, or like the Reeds or whatever. But sometimes I think we have called it the Trenton verse before. We have like a bunch of different like timelines and alternate timelines that we like jump between and write. It's really fun. Honestly, made me think of the Jersey Psychic Lady. Honestly, really good gig for a fate. Yeah. I think I had. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it is. Yes, I remember it now. Okay. I had a character that I came up with for Monster of the Week who I never got to use. But I thought it would be really funny to have a character who like is a psychic and can hear ghosts. But she specifically works for like the Long Island medium type of like cold caller grifter like fake psychic. And the idea of like somebody who normally is talked to by ghosts specifically hanging out somewhere where somebody is grifting, because ghosts think that kind of grift is annoying and ignore that person. So she sits and is the receptionist for like some scammy fake medium, because it's the only way that she gets left alone by ghosts for a few hours a day. I think that's really fun. I've talked before. I think I still have it over here because I've talked before on stream about Monster of the Week. It's like a tabletop role playing game. I have the physical book. You don't even need the physical book. They have all the information on the website. Not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by Monster of the Week. Michael Sands, sponsor me, please. But so it's like based on like Monster of the Week TV shows, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, stuff like that. And the character classes are also based on that. Kate, what an amazing time for you to come home. So it's really fun to come up with like characters for this. Like it's fun to come up with like stories, but I feel like I ran out of ideas for stories so much faster than I ran out of ideas for like people who would live in this universe. Which is why it's so fun that me and my bestie write so much about these characters that we came up with. Kate, I was just telling everybody about I think we got on this topic because I was making fun of Stephanie Meyer for her stereotypical vampire place names, because she has an Irish coven with Siobhan and Maggie. And then I was like, well, I guess I have a Russian vampire named Dmitri. And then I started talking about Dmitri. Somebody suggested I make him Greek, and I was like, well, our Greek guy's name is also very stereotypical. It's Cassius. I love Monster of the Week though. I think it's really fun. I love having original characters. We have so many characters that we just bounce around and talk about. Hello. I've been going for like 45 minutes. I didn't plan anything before I started. I just wanted attention, honestly. Like, if I'm being so real, that's the majority of my motivation these days when I hop on stream, is I'm sitting around and I realize, wait, I could be paying attention to people and getting attention back right now, and then I want to socialize, and I pop on. We were just talking about the casting for the Sunrise on the Reaping movie, and then now we were talking shit about Stephanie Meyer, and then I started talking about my own fictional vampires. And now we're here, and my best friend just got home. which actually I was just talking about them. Yeah. So it is very fun to socialize. I think I want to talk about a video that I want to make, but I don't know if anybody here even like knows enough about this subject matter for this to be super interesting. But I'm just thinking about it because I watched it last night after I finished streaming. Anybody? Oh, have a fun weekend. Have fun at the wedding, Lady Kittybug. And also I see BC already left, but I'm sure that they will see the replay. Have a good night, BC. Um, so I'm not sure. Again, I don't really know how interested people are going to be because this is kind of niche. I feel like this is much more niche than like when I talked about the Hunger Games or Twilight. But I really want to talk about Dr. Horrible's sing along vlog, which is a Joss Whedon like movie thing. It's 45 minutes long. It's a musical. I'm more comfortable calling it a musical than calling it a movie, just because it's short and it's kind of high concept. It's like a vlog. It's like Neil Patrick Harris is doing like a vlog about how he's like becoming a villain. I want to make a video about Dr. Horrible's sing along vlog, and I have no idea how it's gonna go. I feel like a handful of people who feel the same way I do about that movie would be very excited, but it also might not ever get past like 2,000 views. But I love Dr. Horrible. I can't help it. I rewatched it last night, and I was like, wow, there's so much. It's so much because there's a lot that I want to criticize it for, and also I feel like it does try to deconstruct some things that I feel like Joss otherwise isn't usually good about deconstructing. So I don't know how much credit he even gets for deconstructing, but like I don't know. I don't think that it's like accidental that movie ends up having so much to say about like gender. Like I think it was trying to make a statement on like the dehumanization and objectification and like lack of ability that either of these men had to see Penny as a person. Like I don't think that I'm doing too much by reading that into the movie. I feel like it's there in the text, even though Joss Whedon like is not good at writing women. Like Joss Whedon does not have a great track record. He doesn't treat women very well. I don't think he even treats Penny that well, but he treats Penny well enough that like we know her really well, actually, comparatively. Like we know her well enough to know that she's not being seen by these men. And I've also like I've always had a reading on it where like I don't think Penny gives a shit about Captain Hammer, and I think she intentionally equally doesn't give a shit about Captain Hammer or about Billy, about Dr. Horrible. But I think that it's so much more interesting to think about that if you think about it as Penny being a lesbian and she's kind of like going along with this compulsory heterosexuality relationship with Hammer. I think that's so fascinating to turn over, and I don't think that part is Joss. I think this is trying to say something about women getting killed. This is trying to say something about women getting killed for just the purposes of furthering plot, and that this sucks. Like I think that to a certain extent was being deconstructed a little bit. But I also think I don't think that he intentionally was like, and also she's a lesbian. I think it was like, and also neither of these guys know her, and neither of them are like actually connecting. But I just think Penny is so interesting as a lesbian. And it's like, it's there's very little that actually backs this up. It's like it's the way that she doesn't seem very interested in Hammer, other than the fact that like he does basically like get her the homeless shelter in order to like get in her pants. But also like in So They Say, it's like she's like literally like she's sitting there sadly harmonizing while she's eating frozen yogurt, and it's like, this is perfect for me. So they say, I guess he's pretty okay. there's no happy ending. Should I stop pretending? Like, it's not even really actually there, except it's Felicia Day. So it is not hard for me to imagine she's playing a lesbian. I love Felicia Day. And I have always, like, I think again, like maybe to a lesser extent than with Twilight, I understand why it doesn't work for some people, but it works for me. It just works for me so well. And again, I can never tell. I can never tell if it's working for me in the way it was intended to work, or if it's working for me because I have like a more subversive read of it. Joss is a frustrating one to like something of, because like this is like one of very few Joss Whedon things where I'm like, oh, this works. Like, obviously I understand why everybody loved Buffy, but I was just a little bit too young for that. Like, I didn't like grow up watching Buffy. I've seen only a couple seasons of Buffy. Dr. Horrible I have seen. Dr. Horrible I have like the entire soundtrack memorized too. Feminist man, not actually a feminist, strikes again. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you do the thing flat out, you're not really deconstructing it. That's the other thing. Is like, that's like it's like, wow, it's so sad Penny died, and it's like, well, the story was written for Penny to die. But okay. But also on the other hand, like, I do think, you know, it would have been easier for there to have been a version of Penny that had less characterization. And we are like kind of stubbornly given enough to know that the version of her that Billy is making up in his head is not accurate, right? Like we know that she's into like volunteering with the homeless. We know that she's like this like gentle, sweet person. And like maybe there's not also much room for like flaws in there either, which is its own problem. But like I think about that versus, you know, Dr. Horrible is like singing his song to himself, and he's like imagining her telling him to keep his head up. And it's like, that's not something that she has given him any indication that she would have like encouraged him to do. And it's not, it's also, there's no basis for the thing that Dr. Horrible says when he's saying like, she may cry, but her tears will dry when I hand her the deed to a shiny new Australia. Like, we know enough about Penny to know that that's not true. And I do think that's interesting. And again, as somebody else said, it might mostly be more Felicia Day than it is Joss Whedon. I said this to Kate earlier. I was saying I think a lot of my fondness for Dr. Horrible comes specifically from like who is in that cast, and also what a low budget it had, and like what potential it did have, and how many different things I can project onto it. I think if Joss Whedon had made Dr. Horrible with an Avengers level budget, I would have fucking hated it. I would have fucking hated it. So I think it is truly like this being like a low budget thing, with specifically Felicia Day and Neil Patrick Harris that maybe saves it for me. Because I think it definitely, in another world, it could work so much less for me than it does. And even the way it does work for me is like a little bit tenuous. Yeah. Oh no, I never did look at Joss Whedon's original Wonder Woman script. I'll have to look into that. Honestly, Justine, I'm not even sure I saw Dark Knight. That sounds wild, but like I don't think I did. Yeah. Okay, well this is enough interest in chat for sure that we're definitely going to take Dr. Horrible to the Nuance Corner. That's not next, but it might be this month. The next video I actually just I just finished filming. I have to edit, but yeah. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for the super chat. Want to check before? Is it okay to mention a serious topic that I've been pondering recently? It's not political, more feminism based. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Go for it. I really want an MCU deep dive from Ophi now. Oh man, I have more opinions than I probably make public about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A couple of years ago, I rewatched a bunch of the like earlier like Phase One or whatever MCU movies with a friend of mine, and yeah, I would need to watch so much. Like I would need to rewatch all of those in order to make content about it, and so few of them were good. But like some of them are good. Some of them are fun. Um and I also recently really enjoyed Agatha All Along. I think Agatha All Along is really fun. I liked Agatha All Along so much more than I wanted to. I didn't think I was gonna want it. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it. I kind of didn't want to enjoy it. I kind of thought that Agatha All Along was queer baiting me and everyone else. But it wasn't. It's great. I was, I was, I was sure. I remember before Agatha All Along finished airing, I was like, oh, so everybody wants Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza to be gay, Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza to be gay, but they're actually only letting this gay teenager be gay. Okay, fine, whatever. And then my best friend was watching it, and they were like, no, you need to watch this. And I was like, I don't know, because here's my other thing is I think at some point somebody's going to do Death Steal on purpose, right? Somebody's going to do Cass and Dean, but on purpose and even meaner. And I was afraid that that's what was happening. I was afraid that not only was somebody doing Death Steal on purpose, but they were doing Death Steal on purpose to the lesbians with Catherine Hahn. And I'm so glad that wasn't the case. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I'm AFAB, and I've recently been pondering how fat phobia is passed from mother to perceived daughter. Like, I get being healthy, but sometimes it feels like it's just fat phobia. Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I actually, I don't... I was gonna say I don't know how many people are here, but that's also not even going to actually impact whether or not. Oh yeah, there's like 38 people here. We're good. If this is like a difficult topic of conversation, please obviously feel free to leave and maybe check out the next stream, because I think that this is likely going to be what we're going to be talking about for a lot of the rest of the time that I'm on camera here. But I think that this is a great topic of conversation, and I'm more than willing to talk about this. So just trigger warning for like body image talk and fat phobia, but I think we can definitely get into this. I think most women, or people who were assigned female at birth, or people who are perceived to be a woman in any capacity now, who I know, who have said like anything at all to me about having a negative relationship with their body, with food, with eating, more often than not, I think pretty much every time I'm aware of, that comes from somebody's mother. Like I think it is absolutely 100%. Like it surely there are also mothers who attempt not to pass that kind of thing down. But I think a lot of the times the way that this kind of thing gets passed down comes down matrilineally. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And my mother certainly was not a good person for me to live with for my own body image, for a lot of reasons. Like, in general, she at at one point, she was like making me do like weigh-ins on the like on the Wii Fit. She was like making me do weigh-ins and like making me like track my food in like a MyFitnessPal app or some shit. And I think about that now as an adult, and it makes me want to start ripping things down off my walls and starting and having a fucking fit. I want to have such a fit when I think about the fact that I was an 11-year-old girl and my mom was making me weigh in and count my calories, because I kind of, this is like a really glib way to talk about it, but I sometimes refer to it as my mother giving me a communicable eating disorder. Like, I feel like it came pretty close to being like actively enforced on me to have a really negative relationship with eating and with tracking calories. And to my mother, she didn't see that as her doing that to me. She saw that as, you know, she was deep in her own disordered eating and she was tracking her own calories and that was making her lose weight. And because she was losing weight, she didn't like the fact that, you know, her daughter was overweight. And so, yeah, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense to me that, that happens. Like, obviously, it's just like, it's a really, relatable experience to me for that kind of thing to be pushed down to you from your mother. Yes, yeah, Cursed with Caution. I think this may be why Jeanette McCurdy's book was so part of why Jeanette McCurdy's book was so widely read. I really think so too. You know, even my initial thought just reading that message was to say like it wasn't quite that bad with my mom, because it wasn't, but it also like it was bad. Like I was being asked to use an app to track calories, and like I will not track calories at all as an adult. Like if this helps at all, like obviously I'm talking about something really shitty that happened when I was like 11 or 12 years old, but I don't track calories now. I don't diet now. I don't even own a scale. I don't weigh myself. I don't look at the scale at the doctor when they weigh me. This is something that I know is not the way that a lot of people interact with their body. But my thing is kind of, I don't think it's any of my business how much I weigh. I think if I lose weight, I lose weight. If I gain weight, I gain weight. I try really hard to just let my body do what it wants to do, and to make sure that I know that my job is just to make sure that my body gets what it needs. But obviously it's really hard to get to that point when you've been taught literally the opposite. Yeah, my mom also was, like I said, like she had a lot of really bad disordered eating habits. Like I had a sister who was also like larger as a teenager, and then that sister ended up going on a medication for her migraines, and she stopped drinking soda and she stopped enjoying eating, and she lost like hundreds of pounds, like over 100 pounds, I think. And my mother went to a neurologist and lied and said that she too experienced migraines, even though she did not, specifically so that she could go on that medication and stop drinking soda and eating food. And like even that is the one migraine medication that I have refused to try as an adult. I have tried so many other things, and maybe at some point I will be desperate enough to try Topamax, but I think about like putting something into my body that I know made it that much more difficult for my mother and my sister to feed themselves, and I say nope, that's not worth it. I just like I'm not prepared to do anything that's gonna fuck with my hunger cues more than just like being told that I needed to worry about being fat did. And I think, yeah, my lady, moms seem to project a lot more of their own desires onto their children because they're expected to take such a big part in the rearing of children. It's taken to extreme. We get dance moms and boy moms. I think that's a good point too. There's a big idea with moms of like the child being like like a thing they own, and an extension of themselves. And so if the child is an extension of yourself and you have ideas about your own weight, then like you are going to be weird to them about your ideas about their weight, which is like, it's so bizarre for me to think about because I can't imagine possibly caring about another person's weight. The only thing that makes it easy for me not to care about my own weight is the knowledge that I would never care about another person's weight, right? Like it's easy for me to justify not having a scale because I don't need to have a scale, and I don't need to know how much anybody else weighs. If somebody else told me they don't know how much they weigh, I would say, hey, good for you, that's cool. I think that's the ideal way to go about your life. I think that's a better way to go about your life than worrying about being about making sure you're at like a goal weight or something. Yeah, exactly how I feel about it. F you to anyone who asked me about it. Maybe it could be healthier, but also F you. Yeah. Yeah, and moms get shamed and blamed for what their kids weigh, so there's also that. That's a really good point, Little Shop of Alley. I agree. I have said before on live streams too, so I also really appreciate this prompt for this reason too. But I have talked before on live streams about how like I want to talk more and look more into fat phobia, and I think yeah, mothers and daughters is a really good way to look into fat phobia. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the glorification of weight loss. Yes, I want to crawl into a hole and never come out if somebody notices that I've lost weight and they've mentioned it, because the thing my brain immediately does is says, "Oh, either I wasn't eating because it was really difficult to eat for like emotional reasons, or because I was literally hungry because I didn't have money and that's why I lost weight." Like, and the fact that that's not something that people think of when they think about somebody else. Like I don't think the way that I said that made any sense. But I don't understand how somebody else doesn't think that, right? Like, I don't understand how you say, like, "Oh, congratulations, that's so amazing," and you don't think about, like, all of the terrible reasons why somebody might have lost weight. Like, it is so much better to simply not comment on somebody else's weight. Yeah, yeah, Little Shop of Ali. I would love to see a video about this from you. Obviously, I love to see all of your videos. Actually, I just finished recording earlier, and at the end of my new video, I was saying how good your video about the Blake Lively and the myth of the perfect victim. Or sorry, I can't. The cult of the perfect victim. I can't remember exactly what you called it, but it was such a good video. I literally just recorded something like a couple of hours ago where I was saying how amazing that video that you did was. So suffice to say, I think a video from you about this would also be really, really good. I have to live with my grandmother, who will constantly ask if I've lost weight and tell me I look nice. I appreciate that she thinks it's a compliment, but yeah, that's rough. It's like and a lot of people, like, I feel like even people who are told, like, "Oh, it's because I can't eat." I think that doesn't stop them a lot of the time. A lot of the time, it's just like, or like, "Oh, what's your secret?" I'm sick. Like, God. Yes, yeah, yeah. The Blake Lively video is amazing. It is literally, I said that, I think I said in the video that I just recorded, that I think that Allie's video about Blake Lively is legitimately a masterpiece. Like, I think that it is one of the best things on YouTube on that subject. It is amazing. If you are in this chat and you have not yet watched that video from Little Shop of Allie, you absolutely should. It is the second piece in a two-part series about the myth of the perfect victim and the cult of likability, and it is amazing. It is a really, really fantastic series of videos. I've said this before and I will say it again. Little Shop of Allie is making some of my favorite feminist commentary on this entire website. I'm always very like happy when she's in the chat. I'm very happy to see her in my chat, especially because it gives me a good reason to plug her work, because she's doing really incredible work. And I think honestly, like, I have a hard time finding other creators who I feel like are like in so much the same niche as I feel like me and Ali are in the same niche. Like, I feel like the way that we think about things. Anyway, I'm rambling a lot just to say, like, I really love Ali, and I really genuinely believe that anybody who enjoys my videos would also really enjoy Ali's videos, because we're like kind of doing parallel things over here. I would love to collab at some point. That would be really cool. And she also read lines in my latest Twilight video. The ones about the Jacob word. The review. Awesome. Yeah, the way pregnant women get treated isn't discussed. Like, the body policing pregnant women get is wild. People will say the most out-of-pocket shit. Absolutely. Yes. Oh my God. Like, that's the other thing, is like, people act like, oh, you only need to, you only need to gain as much weight as the baby is going to be. Are you fucking kidding me? She's growing a person. She's growing an entire person. She can gain as much weight as she wants to, and she can never lose it if she doesn't want to. Like, fuck you. If I am growing a human person inside of my belly, I have every right to get as fucking fat as I want to be. I have every right to get as fucking fat as I want to be right now, and I am not growing a human person in my belly. I have every right to be as fat as I want to be, because I am a person, because I am a human being. But, like, especially Especially if there was an entire other person that I was trying to provide nutrients for. Like, and your whole body changes when you are pregnant. Like, your body is going through so much shit. Like, you, again, it's just such bullshit. It's wild. Yes, yeah, the way pregnant people get so depersonalized and instead focus is put on the fetus they're housing, as to the point that touching their bellies without consent is seen as a given. Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's another reason why, I always say when people are so fucking angry that Blake might have been upset by the millionth comment about her belly that day, people are so fucking weird to pregnant people. They are so entitled and weird and touchy and nasty. Like, it's and it's obviously so gendered, right? It's like it pushes like it pushes this idea that, like, this is the thing that all women do, and because they do that, they are then, like, more available to you because they're doing their job or whatever. It's nasty. It's nasty. Yeah, pregnancy should be the one time, though. It should be all the time that a pregnant person's looks do not matter. Right, but they literally, they will be like, well, you only really have to gain 10 pounds because a baby's only 10 pounds. No, fuck you. You have to gain as much weight as you would like to because you are doing a big thing. Your body needs nutrients so that it can take care of you and also the fetus. Yes, yeah, that's a really good point, Marty. Even if you're one of those people who forgets the pregnant person exists and only sees baby, why do they think it's okay to just reach out and touch someone's kid? That's such a good point. Yeah, it's so fucked up and weird, and then they have the baby, and it's like, okay, now lose that baby weight. Okay, giving birth is one of the most dangerous things a person can do. Right, and you have a whole person. You have, like, a little infant who is completely and totally reliant on you, and who you are taking care of, and normally, let's be real, the person who was pregnant is doing more work to take care of the newborn than the person who was not. Like, it just... Usually the person who just gave birth is not only recovering from either like giving birth, which even just like a vaginal birth is a very big deal and takes a while to recover from, or from major abdominal surgery if they got a C-section. Like, asking somebody to exercise and lose weight after they have just gotten their abdomen sliced into to have a baby removed is fucking wild. It is not treated as if it is as wild of a thing as it is, but, like, that is a wild expectation to have of somebody. One of my lines when I worked at the call center, I would have people call me because they were asking questions about, like, their maternity or, like, medical pregnancy leave versus like, we have, like, bonding leave here in Massachusetts, which is great. You can have, like, 10 weeks off after your baby is born to spend time with your baby, but, like, everybody gets bonding leave, including the people who weren't pregnant. But then the people who were pregnant, they can get pregnancy leave, and then they can also have, like, a medical leave after the pregnancy to recover physically before they start using that bonding time. And so a lot of my job would be, somebody would call me and they wouldn't really know what the difference is between all of us, and I would talk them through, because it was important to me to make sure that these people knew how to get the majority of the time that they could have, and not just only take the 10 weeks of bonding, which anybody could get. And so I would be like, you literally, like, you had a baby. Like, you deserve extra time off. You had a baby. And so anyway, I made a woman cry one time, because she had like a bad experience with somebody who she talked to before me, because they basically were telling her, like, she only gets to get the bonding leave. And I was like, that's not true. You absolutely get to get your medical leave. You just need a note from your doctor. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, you just went through major abdominal surgery. You do not need to return to work. You need to rest and you need to recover. And she started crying because she was very freshly postpartum. And I felt bad, but I also felt good. Which, like, that's so shitty. But, like, that's the thing about that call center job is, like, you would be the person with the best understanding of the situation, and you would figure out, like, how to lay it out to somebody, and then they would start crying and thanking you, and it's like, I'm so sorry that you're crying, and I'm so sorry that this was frustrating, but I love being able to make this make sense, at least. Which is why it sucked when I got fired, but, you know. Yeah. Yes, yeah, I think you should be able to have the whole first year at least at home with your baby after you give birth, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. Like, I think if you are not prepared to go back to work and you would like to stay home, you should be paid to stay home. And, like, obviously some people don't want to stay home the whole time. Some people do want to go back to work, and they should have the right to do that. But then they should also have, like, some kind of stipend or something given to them for childcare. Like, it is so incredibly unfair, both, like, the way that people are pushed back into going to work and also the way that it costs money to have the baby be worked, like, be somewhere. It just sucks. I was reading in Susan Faluti's Backlash that the pro-life movement was trying to give fetus actual rights so they could try mother in court if something happened to it or something. That's such fucking bullshit. I hate that so much. Oh, they fired me because they wouldn't work with me with, like, my disability. I needed to be able to take more time off. Like, I needed to be able to work a flexible schedule, and they were like, we don't need to do that even if the ADA says you did. And then the EEOC was like, no, you do. But I couldn't find a lawyer. I made a video about it, I think just last month. If you watch the one called Alexa Nicholas tried to scare me with my own EEOC complaint or something like that, I went into it a little bit more. But that was that job. Yeah. They care more, and this isn't even like an original point or anything, but they obviously care so much more about, like, a fetus that is not yet born than they do about, like, an actual real life alive child. And I know everybody already knows that, but the idea of trying to give rights to a fetus when the United States has not signed on to that thing about children having rights that a bunch of other countries have signed on to, that's so fucking offensive and wild and just infuriating. They're doing bullshit in Texas similar to that right now. Yes, Yeah, I have also heard of that. It's awful and it's bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, save the children or whatever. I also went on another rant in my video that I just filmed about how much I do not fuck with conservatives under any circumstances, no matter what. I will say that every time I have a chance. There's no bargain you can take where being a conservative makes me think that you are reasonable or rational, or that you don't over prioritize a fetus over real life people, because I feel like we know enough about the Republicans to know exactly where they prioritize the fetuses. We all had more rights in womb world. It's true. Unfortunately. Yeah, children need so many more rights. Fetuses do not. I agree. Yeah, the pro-life label itself bugs me so badly because it completely ignores the already living person carrying the fetus, as if their life experiences, formed opinions, etc. just aren't worthwhile. I completely agree. I really, really agree. I like, when I try to remember to say pro-forced birth instead of pro-life, because I think that is much more accurate. Because you're right, it's not pro the life of the pregnant person, it's pro the hypothetical life of the baby. Oh yeah, Kate was just telling me about this the other day. I want to shoehorn in a body positive book rec for anyone into sapphic cozy fantasy. Someone you can build a nest in, which I have not read yet, but from what they told me about it earlier, I think it sounds really good. I would love to check it out. Yeah, anti-choice I think is also really good. Anti-choice and pro-forced birth I think are much more effective ways to refer to them than pro-life, because I think pro-life is just too nice and too inaccurate. It's really unfair that they get to call themselves that. It's like if the pro-choicers started being like, we're the good people, which is true. Even the convo around late term abortion is annoying because they do happen for a reason, but pro-lifers feel women should die for their baby if giving birth to them would put their life at risk. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They fucking suck. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have anything else that might be useful to add in the conversation about like mothers and fat phobia, because I feel like I got a little bit off track, but I did just want to say again that I think that was a great conversation prompt. I think chat also had some really good things to say here, and yeah, again, check out Little Shop of Alley. I know Little Shop of Alley is working on a video about Norbit and fat suits right now, so I'm sure that also will have a lot that we'll all be interested in here about fat phobia. Sorry, I just someone above asked, about Lacey Green. Yes, so I want to start researching for Lacey Green. I want to start the research for that this month. Honestly, I'm waiting until after the 27th because that's when my Kirsty Flaw strike knocks off. I don't think Lacey Green herself would copyright strike me, but I don't want to risk it on some of the like conservative channels we're going to have to watch ahead of that falling off, because once that one falls off, I won't have any strikes left. The way it is right now is I have one strike from the live stream that I deleted because that one didn't go away. But then I still have I don't have the strike from my video, which is still up because that one went away when the time lapse thing went. So basically, after the 27th, I'm going to feel a lot more free to like stream things and not worry about getting copyright strikes. So I've kind of just been putting it off until closer to then. But I do want to start working on Lacey Green Part 2. I've been hoping to get that one out in like April or I was hoping to get that one out in April, I think I said, and it was not. But I think maybe May or June. But I don't know. It depends how long it takes once we start researching too. But I am planning on doing those streams soon. First one was really good. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much. I'm really, really proud of that video. Have a good dinner. Yeah, I think Colleen Hoover and Stephanie Meyer do similar things where they're writing and they don't realize how much you're learning about their subconscious from their writing. I haven't read much Colleen Hoover or any Colleen Hoover actually, but that's my understanding from watching videos where other people have read her books. It is getting a little bit late here. It's about 11 o'clock. I think I'm going to wrap it up so that I can finish editing that video that I filmed later tonight. But I really appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. I really love streaming. It's been really fun to just be like streaming every night the last couple of nights. So maybe we'll do a Friday night stream. If anybody has an idea for what to do for a Friday night stream. Somebody suggested one time on one of my community posts just like streaming myself playing like dress up dolls, and I think that sounds really fun. So we might do that at some point. I might see if I can get Sims to stream. I'm just not sure if my computer can actually handle that, but I do think it would be really, really fun to stream and play Sims or like build something in the Sims or something. I think that would be a really fun thing to try to do and have chat going while we do. So I really appreciate everybody hanging out, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. I hope everybody has a nice weekend coming up, and yeah, I will probably be around tomorrow. I think I'll be around tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you all then. I love you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having like a genuinely interesting conversations whenever I'm streaming. But yeah, this was great. I love you. Bye.